That's what it is. Only in recent decades did politicians somehow come to believe that our job is to police the far reaches of Kenya and Somalia, while America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms.
So Donald Trump just gave the most dangerous speech of his entire career, which is saying something because he has a long career of dangerous speeches. And it was addressed to military leaders and was the biggest escalation to date in his attempts to turn the United States military, which is fastidiously nonpartisan, into an authoritarian weapon of him and his administration and his cult of personality. And we have to talk about it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to play of this bombshell speech, incredibly dangerous. And the clips are staggering in terms of Trump's demonization of the opposition party, his obvious cognitive decline as he rants and raves about stairs and paper, as well as some ominous hints at plans to come. Take a look.
We did great. We've got the highest numbers ever received in terms of districts. You know, they have it broken up, 2,500 versus 525. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote. We won everything. We won everything. You have to take a look at the map. It's almost entirely red, except there's a little blue line on each coast, and I think that's going to disappear too.
What the hell does that mean, that's going to disappear? What do you mean? Again, Trump won the popular vote, but by a plurality, not even a majority. More people cast ballots against him than for him in the past election. But talking about making blue areas disappear is pretty ominous when you consider the broader context of the speech. Keep it in mind.
We did really great, and part of it is because of our success with the military, the rebuilding of the military, the vote that I got from the military. And they're vicious people, you know, that we have to fight, just like you have to fight vicious people. Mine are different, a different kind of vicious.
But again, Donald Trump talking about taking out people who aren't wearing uniforms, who are invading the country from within. Who the hell is he talking about? Because he's used similar rhetoric in the past to describe the Democratic Party. So it sure sounds like he's talking about wanting to kill Democrats and is simply lamenting the fact that he can't because they're not wearing enemy uniforms. Pretty disturbing. Here's another clip.
Gave them a big party on the lawn, brought some of them into the Oval Office. But on top of all this, we'll deliver a hard-earned pay raise of 3.8% to every soldier, sailor, airman, Coast Guardsman, Space Guardman, and Marine, something you weren't getting from the past administration. They did not treat you with respect. They're Democrats. They never do.
So it's interesting that Donald Trump talks about not treating the military well because under President Biden, military healthcare, particularly veterans healthcare, was expanded dramatically. It was Republicans who attempted to oppose such a thing. Donald Trump opposed expanding veterans healthcare and veterans benefits in the form of the PACT Act. Biden got it done. So what usually happens is Republicans love using the military, generally speaking, more than Democrats. Democrats are more inclined to take care of veterans in terms of benefits and healthcare and things of that nature. So Trump is trying to rewrite history here. Here's another clip.
They've been after me for so many years now. Here we are. Here we are. Come to the White House anytime you'd like. No, they've given up. They're bad, a lot of bad people. But all over, that's been so popular. It's been very popular. I really thought that we were going to have to sort of fight it through. There's been no fight. There's been no fight. Like what I called the Gulf of America, the Gulf of America, because to me it was always the Gulf of America. I could never understand. We have 92% of the frontage. And for years, actually 350 years, they were there before us. It was called the Gulf of Mexico.
It's still referred to the Gulf of Mexico by most of the world. So Donald Trump, again, trying to be much more preoccupied with like bullshit symbolism and things of that nature, like changing the Gulf of America, than delivering on meaningful substantive policy. But that's classic Trump. All style, no substance.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very, don't laugh, you're not allowed to do that. You know what, just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. course, there goes your rank, there goes your future. But I've never.
Was he joking or is he not joking? It's hard to tell with Donald Trump, which is part of the problem. And by the way, I'll point out that if a Democrat ever joked like that while giving an unhinged speech to the military, like you better applaud, you better laugh, you better not be silent. Because again, the military is supposed to be fastidiously nonpartisan. No doubt, it skews conservative. Most soldiers tend to be conservative. But as a unit, as a collective, with the uniform on, they are supposed to be fastidiously nonpartisan. You could be the most diehard liberal or diehard conservative, but when that uniform is on, you're supposed to keep that shit to yourself. And they're trying under Trump. That's why he's remarking, wow, you guys are pretty silent. You're not like wearing your fucking MAGA hats. You're not applauding and doing backflips. Well, no, they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to do that for Democrats either. And this is something that upsets Trump. He wants it to be fastidiously partisan, not fastidiously nonpartisan in his favor. That's why he's doing so many of these. This is like his second or third highly politicized speech in the past 8 months directed at and to the military. He's trying to change that, just like he's trying to boost and inflate ICE's numbers to try to turn ICE into basically a private army, a fascistic, army of jackboots that he can unleash against the American people. He wants to do the same thing with the actual army. And the actual army isn't invincible. It's not immune to propaganda. And if Trump keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, and there isn't serious, resilience from within by the actual generals, the commanding officers between Trump and the rank and file, that could happen. It's happened in other countries. Here's another clip.
Beautiful paper, the gorgeous paper. I said, throw a little more gold on it. They deserve it. I want the A paper, not the D paper. We used to sign a piece of garbage. I said, this man's going to be a general, right? Yeah. I don't want to use this. I want to use the big, beautiful, firm paper. I want to use the real gold writing when you talk about the position, and they're beautiful. And, but how would you like to have that where some kid sitting in the back office is having it signed with an auto pen? I thought about it, and I thought about you people first. And I
thought, you know what they really give a shit about? Big paper. Firm paper. That's what they give a shit about. No, probably not. They probably just don't want to have their lives, thrown away needlessly in conflict. They probably don't want to be used as a political football. They probably want to have their health care expanded and protected. And Trump has relentlessly tried to prevent or attack the health care of not only veterans and active duty military, but just the American people writ large. And they probably don't want to be turned into your fascistic army and treated in that way. They probably just want to do their jobs professionally and go home in peace and with plenty. That's probably what they want. Here's another clip.
The purpose of American military is not to protect anyone's feelings. It's to protect our republic, and it's the republic that we dearly love. It's to protect our country. We will not be politically correct when it comes to defending American freedom, and we will be a fighting and winning machine. We want to fight, we want to win, and we want to fight as little as possible. You have to count on people like me to keep you out of wars, because we don't want to go into wars. Many of the wars that I just told you about, we could have entered those wars and settled them in a different way, lose a lot of our troops. And we could have settled them, I guess, differently. Maybe not, actually. Actually, you might not have been able to settle them. We just would have been in the middle of a lot of firepower.
I'll point out that Donald Trump, in his first term, promised that he would end the war in Afghanistan. He didn't. President Biden actually did that. So we're actually American troops are in one fewer war under Biden, and because of Biden, than Trump. So this idea that Donald Trump is this dove as opposed to a hawk is absurd. Now, I'll also point out, before he gave the speech, his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, gave an equally unhinged one in which he talked about revoking rules of engagement and talking about how it's important to just be able to ruthlessly kill, rules of war, rules of engagement be damned, which is really bloodthirsty and pretty sinister. Now, that didn't come from Trump's mouth, but it came from the mouth of his appointed defense secretary, which means it might as well have come from Trump's mouth. That's a problem. The Trump administration is full of psychopaths, and they look at the military as almost like a bloodthirsty, conquering jet, like warriors, and we can't have to worry about civilian casualties, and the rules of engagement be damned. Like it's really weird sort of shit that they're talking about in this speech. It's insane.
But when we do need it, you're going to be so ready. And you know it. But very importantly, with that goal in mind, I've committed to spending over $1 trillion on our military in 2026, and that's the most in the history of our country.
Now, the reason I find that important is because I was assured by many Democrat-hating progressives like Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian that Donald Trump would actually cut the defense budget. And in fact, Trump is committing, as predicted, to actually expand the defense budget to even greater levels than it was under Trump term 1 or under President Biden or President Obama or so on and so forth. So much for that.
Very important mission. And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. Because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor, stupid.
So not only is he actively insulting state and local leaders in Chicago and Illinois, he says, hey, actually, we should use American cities as training grounds for the military. Now, that is incredibly sinister, and again, an escalation in Trump's effort to weaponize the military for partisan political ends, as well as violating the fundamental, I shouldn't say the, but one of the most important principles of this country at its founding is that the military would be under civilian leadership and be used against primarily foreign enemies, and that domestic law enforcement would be taken by civilian law enforcement. Trump is trying to erode those foundations and those barriers, the firewalls between them, for his own short-term selfish ends.
They need the military. No, they need the military desperately. How about Portland, Oregon, where it looks like a war zone? And I get a call from the liberal governor, sir, please don't come in. We don't need you. I said, well, unless they're playing false tapes, this looked like World War II. Your place is burning down.
It's not. It's just bullshit. This has been debunked to hell and back. It's just that Donald Trump is horny to use the military on American cities and against the American people. With that unhinged order he gave to Pete Hegseth, hey, when you go into Oregon, when you go into Portland, I'm authorizing you to use full force against Americans. Basically deadly force, military force, lethal force by the military against Americans. And he's doubling down on this shit. Here's another clip.
Like in Venezuela, you've seen the boats going. We can't find any more boats. They're carrying drugs, massive. Every boat kills about 25,000 people. That's what they have. They had fentanyl mostly and a lot of other drugs. And we take them out, and we've taken out 4. And it's on air. Everybody gets to see it. Not that we like to do that, but every boat kills 25,000 on average. 20. Some people say more. You see these boats just stacked up with bags of white powder. That's mostly fentanyl and other drugs too. And now we have a problem. General Kane says, sir, there are no boats out there. Not even fishing boats. They don't want to go fishing. I don't blame them. There'll be no fishing today.
And I want to give the military credit for not applauding or laughing at that, because that's a really sociopathic thing to say. Donald Trump is likely violating both domestic and international law with these attacks on Venezuelan boats, whom he insists are, drug traffickers, but has offered no evidence to corroborate that. So he may just be murdering a bunch of civilians in Venezuela and then laughing about it. No, we don't like to do it. Well, you're bragging about there's no fishing. There's no fishing. Nobody's fishing today because they're worried they're going to get vaporized. Fishermen, drug traffickers, kind of all the same. Pretty gross.
We haven't even started yet. Last month, I signed an executive order to provide training for quick reaction force that can help quell civil disturbances. This is going to be a big thing for the people in this room because it's the enemy from within, and we have to handle it before it gets out of control.
So again, talking about using the United States military against liberals, progressives, blue cities, blue states, and the American people, the enemy from within. Again, he doubles down on it, and we'll just end on this particular clip because otherwise we could be here for another 30 minutes going through this unhinged speech.
But these service members are following in a great and storied military tradition from protecting frontier communities to chasing outlaws and bandits in the Wild West. And our history is filled with military heroes who took on all enemies, foreign and domestic. You know that phrase? Very well. That's what the oath says, foreign and domestic. Well, we also have domestic. George Washington.
Domestic, again, talking about the American people. Folks, this is unhinged. It's incredibly dangerous. Donald Trump is engaging in a full court press to try to turn the organs of state, including the United States military, into his own partisan political playthings that he can weaponize against blue cities, blue states, liberals, progressives, the media, immigrants, women, minorities, marginalized groups, anybody who disagrees with him in any respect, including conservatives if they defy him. This is a major escalation in this speech, and we're only, again, 8 months in. So this is an emergency situation, and we need to stay vigilant, and we need to, at the next election, vote these people out. Vote every Republican out you possibly can and replace them with a Democrat, and keep voting Democrat so we can try to course correct here, because this is a serious 5-alarm fire for democracy. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.